of the Philippine Folklore Museum Foundation. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for coming in this particular and special event, and one of our second cultural event for this year. My topic of information this evening is about the importance of a San Francisco Filipino museum. The traditional role of a museum is to collect objects and materials of cultural and historical importance, preserve them and present them to the public for the purpose of education and enjoyment. Education is one of the fundamental objectives of a museum. Through programs and activities, the museum can enrich the educational process of exposing the public to their history and assist future generations to understand and appreciate their history and culture and take pride in the achievements of their ancestors. It is important to have a Filipino museum that teaches Filipino Americans and the public about our cultural heritage, about historical events and environments that shape the Filipino people, about our national heroes that should inspire our youth as role models, and about the artistic soul of our national and local artists. A Filipino museum would provide a venue for events like tonight, where the museum provides an important backdrop with its permanent exhibits for Filipino artists and writers' performances. A lot of schools in the Bay Area offer courses in Philippine studies. However, a Filipino museum will help impart cultural education effectively since it has the materials and exhibits needed to do it. As far as we know, in San Francisco or the Bay Area, you will not find a Filipino museum that fulfills that role. The Philippine Folklore Museum fulfills part of the role, but needs a lot of assistance to fully provide the objectives of a museum. The major help we need is to find a permanent home for the museum. Look around you. Our 15 bas reliefs will guide you to some of the important events in our Philippine history, and for some senior citizens like me, our gallery of photos of old Manila, or the gowns of Mrs. Quezon that was given to her friend, the traje de mestiza, the balintawak or patagong circa 1936 will bring back a lot of good memories to most of us. Appreciate the painting of Bottom Francisco, one of our national artists, on the cry of balintawak. See how he captured the intensity, courage, and determination on the face of Andres Bonifacio and the Katipuneros. And how about you ladies? Take a look at the portrait of Andres Bonifacio. Is he as handsome as Dr. Jose Rizal? What do you think? Like we used to say in the Philippines, pogi ba? Our cultural program, like A Kiss from Loleng, which is a reading from the La Solidaridad, is about the romance between Jose Rizal and Leonor Rivera last June, was highly acknowledged and appreciated by our audience. I received inquiries and emails requesting for a repeat performance. This evening's program will be a combination of music, poetry, and arts. Please take time to see closely the Bonifacio exhibits, which is our way of honoring a revolutionary hero who founded the Katipunan, a secret society which spearheaded the uprising against Spain and laid the groundwork for the first Philippine Republic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to present to you Dr. Michael Gonzalez of the San Francisco State College and his students.
Good evening to everyone. I am very much appreciative of the assistance that Lydia and Dan, the Philippine Folklore Museum Foundation, in trying to facilitate this event, a very important event, and a very significant moment when we actually have a premier soprano coming over to San Francisco to provide us the necessary sentiments for this evening. I am quite sure that not many of you have read about Andres Bonifacio. Who has? Okay. All right, that's a good number. So I had a little biography in that little program there, just in case, to give you a little bit of background on Andres Bonifacio. Bonifacio was a very interesting person, especially if you look at the way he constructed his movement towards leading the Philippines into the road of independence. And one of the things that I wanted to emphasize for tonight, and this is the reason why the program is organized that way, this way, is that beyond the raised arms and the balls and the charging towards the fight and all that, Bonifacio was actually a family man. And tonight, more than the vision that most Filipino children have had of Bonifacio as a man as a soldier, as a warrior, I think would have much more roundedness if we look at a different aspect of the man. Bonifacio had been married several times. The second wife was actually a co-soldier of his during the Katipunan fighting. And his idea of a new Philippines, a post-colonial Philippines, was actually premised on the values of the family as they had envisioned at the time. Even if he was not as prolific as Jose Rizal, our other great national hero who wrote many books and many letters. Bonifacio did not write as much. But if you were to look at some of his writings, there was one single focus that he was trying to convey to his followers. And this was perhaps because Bonifacio was orphaned early in his life. He was 14 years old. The parents died of some illness. So he was left to care for his siblings, 3 brothers and 2 sisters. And Bonifacio had to work the streets selling canes and paper fans to make the family survive. He eventually worked in a British company, learned English on the job, and then also did some work for a German company as a warehouse manager. This idea of bringing up a family under very adverse conditions, mind you, he was also building up a secret society at that time, must have had shaped his ideas of what the future Philippines would be under the leadership of the Katipunan. The Katipunan was the organization that he founded soon after Rizal was exiled in 1892. The idea of the post-colonial family, according to Bonifacio's writings, as might be gleaned from them, was to recreate the family in the Katipunan. The Katipunan is a kapatiran.